welcome to my channel. My name is Emmy from Emmy Evolving. If this is your first time joining me, thank you for finding me. If this is not your first time, thank you for coming back. So, quick reminder, I do have quite a few different learning opportunities available on my academy. k33academy.com/store is the link to go to so that you could see everything that I have available. And aside from that, let's get started with a reading. So, I asked what this reading was going to be about, and what I heard is you have no idea just how psychic you are. You have no idea. It makes me itch. It's making me itch and have a hive right here. I can feel it. Okay. I hear that often. I don't know if you guys hear that often, but I hear that often. You have no idea how psychic you are. I mean, I don't know if it's just. Michael says, there you go with your face. Excuse you. There is nothing wrong with my face. He says, I always am doing things with my face. I can't hide my feelings, okay? I've never. Anyways, I'm almost ready, guys. I'm almost ready. Okay. There. Oh, you guys, it's my curtain. It's supposed to be blackout curtains, but it's blue out. It's at least you guys like it. It's my curtain. And then how their unique traits trigger envy in toxic individuals. Oh, shoot. Okay. You're triggering envy in individuals. Okay. Someone want to be like you? I don't know. I don't know, but we're going to find out. We're going to find out. Okay. Okay. Just breathe. I suddenly have so much anxiety. It's ridiculous. Okay. So what we're going to do with this reading, we're going to go all the way. Oh, you are so sweet, Miss L Sexy. You are so sweet. Here goes. Right off the bat, I do get that someone is jealous. I am assuming someone, the feel that I get is that someone is tripping off you because the person that they're into is now into you. You guys, I never understood that. What does it matter who's into you? I think, you know, all that matters for me, at least, is who the person I'm into is attractive. Like when I first met my husband, so many gals were just swooning over this man. I was just like, I don't care. Who is he swooning over? And if it ain't me, then it ain't me. And I'm not playing around. I'm not sticking around and playing around. And I'm not playing with other girls. So I'm good. Right. I think there's a lot of, I pick up on a lot of insecurity, a lot of jealousy directed at you. I think you don't even notice this. I think you don't realize the type of effects and the way people see you. I think that because you're so accustomed to being yourself, you know, you don't realize the effect you have on others. Let's see what the cards say. It's this same guy that is just head over heels, swooning over you. Okay, so we have this masculine in reverse. He's upside down. He's all up in his head regarding you, thoughts of you, whatever about you. Um, you know. Okay. Yeah. They just cannot clear you out of their mind. So have you been feeling odd emotions? Have you been feeling very rough and very raw lately? You don't know why. Have you been feeling as though it feels like you're dealing with something, but you know you're not dealing with anything because you know your life, you know yourself, you know what you're going and not going through. And so now it's like, what is this? Am I going through depression? Am I having some type of mental breakdown? I feel like you're picking up someone else's, sorry guys, you're picking up on someone else's emotions, experiences, and you don't realize what's happening. I feel like that's what's happening. Um, whoever this whoever this masculine energy is for you, they are very much struggling to hide and deny the way they feel. They've known the way they feel about you for a very long time, and they have dealt with the emotions successfully for a large portion of it. And now it's just reaching this fever pitch, right? It's it's becoming very intense, unbearable is what I hear. They don't know what your intention would be if they approached you. And because of that, they feel very powerless around you. I'm assuming this is someone who is not accustomed to not being in control. This is someone who is not accustomed to not getting their way. This is probably someone who is highly attractive and have a lot of suitors, a lot of interest in them. And you seem to be the only one that's just like very just nonchalant about everything. And so that drives them nuts. This is just okay. I need to listen to like wrong song selection. Let's look for okay. We'll listen to some Snoop Dogg. Woo! 1, 2, 3 to the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg and Dr. Dre is at the door. And Michael says, see, that's the thing. Like whenever you start to progress within your understanding of things, you allow yourself to become distracted. You in fact intentionally distract yourself. I don't know, maybe that's your coping mechanism. Um, so this person's feeling very disempowered, right? And you're picking up on this. You're picking up on a lot of the psychic hits, the blips. There's a lot of messages that come through, and you very much sift through and only allow yourself to receive the ones that flow with a storyline that you're telling yourself. I don't know what the storyline is, but it's a storyline for sure. It's definitely a storyline. Some of the things that happen when you're highly intuitive, especially when you have precognitive abilities that are highly advanced, is that you tend to push away a lot of the information. You could do it for other people. Well, I mean, unless there's a specific type of almost like personality that will utilize this precognitive ability for their self advancement. Um, it tends to be someone who, not always, but it tends to be someone who struggles with integrity. But for most of us, we have a tendency to have to go through tremendous amounts of struggle, tremendous amounts of um, moments where, had we just listened to that precognitive hit, we would not have had to experience what we're now struggling through. It takes tremendous amounts of that before you start to begin to listen. So here's the thing, is that you've been using your psychic abilities against yourself to keep yourself trapped in a cycle of something that's not worthy of you. So now what's going to end up happening is your higher self is going to push something forward. You can get a sense of it. You can get a really good sense of it because you start to feel, you're listening to me talk and you're like, oh no. Oh no. So now what needs to happen? These are telling a whole ass story. So there's this guy, this masculine energy. He feels very disempowered around you. He doesn't know how to approach a situation. I think what this is going to do is it's going to really amplify your abilities and your understanding of your abilities. So this person, it seems as though they ended a union and they've stopped creating opportunities for themselves because they're stuck in this in this cycle of like, should I not, should I not, should I not. I don't know what to say. Hold on. This is making me feel super nauseous. All right. So you have death in reverse, right? Stagnation, slow changes, partial change, inertia, narrowly avoiding a serious accident. So it all ties together. What needs to happen is you need to ground yourself. You need to kind of place into your soil the seeds of new opportunities. Um, it feels like if you avoid this, a lot of the different things that you definitely will be needing, it's going to be withheld for a time. You're going to experience some type of struggle. It might even lead into financial blockages until you allow these seeds to take root. So there's like multiple layers of messages coming through. It's this thing of this individual who you're tied to, connected to in some way, to some degree. You have a connection with an individual. They contain within them some of the things, energy, realizations, whatever it is, they contain within them some of the things that you need in order to reach that next level of understanding of your journey. See, you're a mirror. You guys are upside down. You're both upside down. You're both stubborn. See, mirror, shadow, scrying mirror. You can foretell your future by looking in their eyes. That's what Michael says. He's surprised. You can foretell your future by looking in their eyes. There's a part of something you need. And I don't think you're aware yet of what it is you need. I feel like you can feel it. I feel like you've been given this information via dreams, maybe song lyrics, maybe axioms, maybe memes, whatever it is. I feel like you've been being given these messages with increasing frequency, increasing intensity. But again, if you're going to try and convince yourself that what you are picking up on is an imagination, I don't know that it's going to be beneficial for you. But also, here's the thing, as someone who goes through type of process consistently, how do you know that it's accurate? And I'm sure for those who are also highly gifted but don't want to admit it to yourself, you'll be able to relate to this. It's this question of like, I have a really good imagination, so how do I know I didn't just make that up? These are just assumptions. There is, and I say this often, um, I have no confirmation that what I'm picking up on for myself in my journey is accurate. You know? But here's the thing. If you can read for other people, if you can pick up information for other people, if you are so cognitive of the accuracy that you have for other people, how are you suddenly not accurate for yourself? It's because of your disbelief in yourself. It's because you don't want to believe that you can guide yourself in the way that you can. People will say that, they like to bring God and religion into conversations with me or about me sometimes. And it's this thing of, didn't God make me? Because I sure as hell didn't make myself. And if someone wants to say that, well, you're a creation of a demonic nature, did God not create demons? Because based on religious teachings, God is the creator. God created everything. So you think that God made a mistake on the day that he made me? By virtue of his omnipotence, God doesn't make mistakes. Everything is a calculated thing, a calculated exploration of the potentiality stored within flesh. We all are a calculated exploration of the potentiality stored within flesh. So, how can you be accurate for other people and get a good sense for other people, but you can't for yourself? Yes, you can for yourself. You just don't want to. To whatever degree you reject the gifts that were gifted to you, gifts that you have the right to share or not share with others. At some point in your life, you were not given permission by someone outside of you. Maybe be an adult, maybe whoever was taking care of you as a child, you were not given permission to be who you are. Excuse me. If you're drawn to me and you watch me often, I have a little news flash for you. So here's the thing. You're drawn to me because you're probably just as intuitive as I am. If not close, then you are exactly. In addition to that, you're drawn to me because I soothe the fear you have over who you are. Because you're just as weird as me. It's okay. It's okay to be weird. You see that someone didn't give me permission to be who I am as a child, and now they don't care. I don't need permission to exist. I already do, and therefore I will do with that existence as I please. I will have as many people as I want. I will be as open about myself as I choose. And that gives you a sense of hope of maybe I can do that too someday. Maybe I can be as shameless in my existence as I'm watching this girl being. You could make that today. Today can be the day. The day. It's very, very easy to reject who you are. Much easier to reject yourself than it is to reject a complete stranger who has lied to you repeatedly. That needs to change. You're being so intuitively guided, so deeply and profoundly guided. And because you're refusing that guidance, you are refusing to receive what is rightfully yours. You don't give yourself permission to thrive. Then your soul is going to begin involving other people to cultivate your understanding of your gifts. Your gifts are already there, they're already present. They're probably also already active. And so, what needs to happen is you need to exit out of this upside down ethos, this mindset that prevents you from truly and genuinely pulling in and accepting the greatness that you are. Okay. So, you're in this space of an upside down ethos, a mindset that, again, does not give you permission to be who you are. That's blocking your ability to expand your awareness. This concept of being asleep it's a fictitious one. There are those who are like, I'm here to awaken people. Really? I'm here to save the world. Really? God complex much? Seriously, God complex much? Right? That's a God complex. Let's go ahead. Hold on. Oh my gosh. Hold on. An unshakable belief characterized by consistently inflated feelings of personal ability, privilege, or infallibility. Mhm. Common signs that someone may have a God complex: believing they are entitled to special treatment or privileges, being excessively controlling or jealous, refusing to accept criticism, thinking they have all the answers, feeling superior or invincible, having a superiority complex, ignoring the needs of others. So, this thought that you know what someone else needs more than they know what they need, that you have all the answers, right? I think what a God complex is a distortion in someone's ability to see who they are, and then they overcompensate. Because what ends up happening is, since they can't see the truth of who they are, um, and it could be due to traumas or what have you, um, what ends up happening is they try and overcompensate for that feeling of being very much less than, very disempowered, very weak. So you can't tell them anything about anything because they're trying to save you. You're just not listening, right? Well, I think part of the reason those type of people exist is to give all of us the opportunity to step more into our creative spaces, to better reclaim our personal power, our sovereignty. And if you don't reclaim your personal power and your sovereignty, what's going to end up happening is da, 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 you'll be faced with the people who will challenge your authority over yourself by way of attempting to dominate you. I've come across quite a few people who do this. And there was a time where I wondered why. Well, I'll tell you why. You want to know why? You want to know why people used to try me so hardcore? Because I didn't want to believe I was capable of defending myself to the degree that I know I can. because I was far too comfortable. Far, far, far too comfortable with playing small and pretending. Yeah. Things began to shift the day a good friend of mine passed away. It was an older gentleman. I had deactivated my Facebook account for a few months. I was just going through something really intense, really severe. It was a massive dark night of the soul. Um, Michael says to share what the dark night of the soul was. I was triggered by the awareness that I had found a twin ray. It was triggered by that. So I deactivated my Facebook account and I was gone for a while, just living life and being quiet, right? And then for like a week, I kept seeing my friend and it was intensifying and intensifying. And then finally, I couldn't stand it. And so I reactivated my Facebook account. And the first post that I see is his son posted on his account that he had passed away the night before. So I didn't get to have a final conversation with him. But he was the last person I spoke to before I deactivated my account. And so what ended up happening, yeah, that wasn't a good experience. Because then it was this thing of like, if I had just listened, if I had just listened. I've been a medical intuitive my entire life. If I had just listened and spoke to him and allowed myself to interact, because I could feel his energy pulling to me, pulling my awareness, I could have possibly forewarned him and let him know to go seek medical attention, and it could have possibly potentially affected the trajectory. But that's neither here nor there because it was his time to go. But the thing that I wanted to share was that uh yeah, after I kind of processed some of it, he ended up coming to me and speaking with me. And he he was just so respectful that he would always change what he calls me based on what I would change my profile name to, because I would change my profile name often. So it just so happened that uh the irony. It just so happened that my profile name at that time when he passed was Little Lamb. Little Lamb. Because I felt like a little lamb. Yeah. It went from Mary Lamb to Little Lamb, and then so he would call me Lils. And he came to me in the middle of my afternoon. And he was just so excited and talking. And most people who pass away, they're so excited and they just are chatterboxes. They don't stop talking because all of these realizations, and it's a beautiful thing. It's a very beautiful thing for most people, not all, for most. And so he's like talking, talking, talking. And he says to me, Lils, how do you fit such a big soul in such a little body? Is that what you call yourself, Little Lamb? And I was like, what? He goes, you're so huge. And I was like, oh no. And he goes, you're so good at playing small, but why do you do it? I said, because I make people uncomfortable. So that's the thing. He thought it was hilarious. He thought it was hilarious that I would forego um according to him. That I would forego the gift that I am just to make others comfortable, and in exchange, allow them to suffer. Allow them to go without the clarity they seek, that only someone who can see like I see can very easily give them. I can see very clearly for other people. I can see exactly where you're headed. I can see what you need to do. I can see how every decision will affect the trajectory of your journey. I can see it very clearly with no effort. – 99% of the time, I won't say anything unless you ask me. And even then, I have a tendency to constrict a lot of the communication because I don't want to affect your journey in a negative way. I understand that you have to go through the things you have to go through to develop the awareness and understanding that you are seeking. The very things that you want in life are being brought to you in a way that challenges you, not in the way that's the easiest for you to accept, but in a way that challenges you to move beyond the limitations that have kept you from achieving what you are here to achieve. And I think maybe the same applies for all of us, where we do that to ourselves. We don't allow ourselves to have the realizations about ourselves because it's uncomfortable. It's very uncomfortable. It's uncomfortable to continuously get the confirmation that you are so far removed from normal, from average, from basic, from everyone else. Maybe you're not like everyone else because you, my dear, are one of the people who's been tasked to be the trailblazer of your local environment. Sometimes, in order to blaze trails, you need to burn some shit. And maybe the first thing you can start with is burning away this concept that you are less than who you are. To be who you are, you just have to be yourself. That takes no effort. It takes no effort. I once had someone ask me if I was afraid that others would replace me. Replace me in what? The spiritual community? You mean there's going to be another Emmy with my personality? There will be others, and there already are others who have developed skills, who are born with skills. They're very comparable to my own. That doesn't make me insecure. That makes me happy. That makes me happy. Why would I base my value on that? My value is as a totality. It's not based on parlor tricks. I am valuable as a totality. Every part of me lends to my value. Same as you. There will never be another me. There will be people who will try and they will fail. You know why? Because they'll always have to wait for me to show another aspect of myself. And I don't know, but I'm living chaos. It's kind of depleting for someone else to try and pretend to be me. I'm literally chaos made in the flesh. And so that's going to deplete you rather quickly. Things that are super easy for me will be a challenge for you. Why? Because you're not accustomed to being the type of chaos that I naturally am. So that's not my concern. That is not my concern. Because first off, I'm not here to be liked. I'm not here to be worshiped. I am not here for a following. I am here simply to exist and to allow those who are willing and wanting to witness me in my existence. And as part of that existence, yes, I do have quite a few highly developed skills. But here's the thing, I'm only comfortable saying that here in a live stream where no one else in real life can hear me. Because a large portion of the people that I come across have no idea what I do. When I say a large portion, I mean, I don't tell anyone in real life. No. Relatives don't know what I do. They don't. I don't tell them. I remember I had a conversation with my sister-in-law about my niece. And I was like, enjoy the toddler years. You need to make sure that she bonds with you very, very intensely because as she gets older, she's going to become defiant and she needs to know you are on her side because the last thing you want or need is to have someone with her type of abilities to see you as a threat. She's like, what do you mean? I was like, well, she's just like me. She can do what I do. And she goes, what does that mean? And I asked her, do you know what I do for work? She goes, not really. And I was like, I know. I don't tell anyone. She goes, like, you do cards and stuff, right? I was like, no, that's not what I do for work. Were you as self-aware going through this as you are now? No, I wasn't. And that's the thing. That's why I'm saying, like, I don't interfere as much as possible. I don't want to interfere with other people's journeys because I am so painfully aware the things that I went through is the very reason I developed my awareness of myself that I have now. And it's the very reason that I'm continuing to develop that awareness, continuing to expand my awareness of myself. Right? Like I remember I was having just a conversation with my friend who passed. And I remember he used to say that I'm a very well-read young lady. And I was like, thank you. And, you know, that's when I'm simply sharing information that I've read somewhere at some point. And I remember this conversation in particular where we're talking about religious beliefs and I shared with him my point of view. And this is during a time where I barely started live streaming and I was very, very awkward. This was within the first 2 months of me live streaming. It was very awkward. And in this private conversation, um, he's like, wow, Lils, you're a bodhisattva. And I was like, oh, no, I'm not. And he goes, have you ever read about bodhisattvas? And I was like, yes. I'm not, I'm a human being. And he was convinced. He was convinced that my awareness of self that I shouldn't be selfish. He felt that it was because he knew that I'm a very giving person. I'm very helpful. But he also knew my public image was just someone who just constantly jokes around. And that's how I had amassed quite a large awareness of my personal profile. And he felt it was selfish that I was withholding profound insight that could forever affect the trajectory of other people's journeys. And he had asked me why I never share my innermost thoughts. And the only thing I can think of is, what if I'm wrong? These are just assumptions, they're theories, working theories at that, not even fully formed. They're theories of visuals that I receive, conversations that I have. And even to that point, no one knew that I spoke with Michael so frequently. No one knew. My relatives don't know that I speak to a disembodied voice. They're all medical. They would say I have schizophrenia. Trust me, I've been assessed. I don't have schizophrenia. And that's the thing. That's what causes you to not share the depth and the gravity of how profound you are, because you've been shamed into space of silence. And looking back, I understand that a lot of the things that I refused to share was because way back when I was a lot younger, whenever I would share things, it would scare everyone. It would scare everyone. To the point where when I walk in the room, everyone goes quiet and they just look at me. And when you're already highly introverted, so these are cycles. These are cycles. They're just cycles. They're just cycles, is all they are. The cycles continue so that you could reach deeper depths of illusions that exist within yourself in order to clear that away, in order to more deeply nurture yourself, the parts of you that need you. I think that people develop things like God complexes because it's easier to externalize than it is to dive deep within the self. And when you dive deep within yourself, you begin to see the profound nature of you. And I think for many of us, we're not ready to see exactly how profound we actually are. as aware as I am of certain aspects of my capacity, I'm still only a fraction of a fraction um, aware of how profound I could possibly be. I mean, even the way that I word that, it's uncomfortable to just make a declaration that I am profound. It's like there's a potential. There's a potential that I am profound. Um, I don't know whether I am or am not. I still have a purpose that I need to fulfill. Same thing with you. And in order to fulfill that purpose, you have to begin really developing your ability to embrace your nature, right? You know, they say nature versus nurture, right? How do you develop something? Nature versus nurture. What if you use both? What if you accept your nature and then nurture it? The profoundness of the growth that occurs when you exist as a totality versus diminishing yourself into a duality. How can you tell if you're a duality? Well, you still exist in the and or category. Either or. Communion in reverse. So you're needing to commune with your own higher self. In order to develop these abilities further, that's kind of what needs to happen. You need to be aware of what exists, and then you need to consciously decide to cultivate it. I think that's why an individual outside of you keeps being brought forward, or something keeps attempting to bring that individual forward, is because they serve as a mirror and you can view them objectively in a neutral manner, view them with no judgments, just witness them. And as you witness them, you begin to see that, oh, I do that too. Oh, it's not that bad. Oh, it's not bad at all. As a matter of fact, it's actually kind of fabulous, right? Death and magic in reverse. You don't have to go through a lot of the hardship that most of us will experience to develop these gifts. We experience those things because we don't want to develop them. And so then we're forced. Then it becomes a trauma induced accretion. And you begin to go through such hardship that you have no choice but to flood the pathways that lead to you retrieving those gifts. Ambition in reverse. You know, society would tell you that ambition is bad. It's the root of all evil. It makes you a greedy person. Does it? What is ambition? A strong desire to do or achieve something, typically requiring determination and hard work. An aspiration, a goal, an aim, an objective, a purpose. It's a desire and determination to achieve success. And we are conditioned, especially as women, we are conditioned to believe that our ambitiousness, our ambitious nature, our ambitions makes us a bad person, a bad mother, a bad friend, a bad wife, a bad sister, a bad cousin, just you're bad, you're selfish. Why? Why? Because you shouldn't have any ambitions and everything about you should be used to better everyone else except you. There are people who are like, if you charge for sessions, you are part of the problem. What problem? The fiat problem? The monetary issues that exist are because of me, because I'm earning a living wage in a respectful manner. You see the whole spiritual community thing. That's the problem. That's the controlled opposition. You went from one church into another, thinking you liberated yourself from organized religion when all you did was exchange it for a newer version. That sucks. That sucks that you went from one place telling you how to be, how to think, how to live, and entered into another place that's doing the same thing, but using words that are like glitter, glamour, casting a spell on you. Like, no, here in this space, you better think for yourself. We can have profound conversations, but you don't just take what I say in as though it's an absolute truth. You question that. You allow it to further ripen the questions that you have or have had in the past about things that you were considering, theories, all of these different things. And then you allow yourself to integrate what resonates and leave the rest. It doesn't matter who the words come from, me or someone else. This is how you process life to grow yourself. You consider what resonates and discard everything else. Forgiveness in reverse. This refusal to forgive yourself for the betrayals that you committed upon yourself. You abandoned yourself when you abandoned your truth. You abandoned yourself. And then we externalize this thinking that we have a fear of other people abandoning us. The people who have abandoned us, walked away from us, are externalized projections of the ways we walked away from ourselves. That's why it triggers you so much. So, in the world, not of the world, but you don't believe that. There's a part of you that wants so desperately to believe, to be seen as a regular human being, and you're not. You're not average. I'll tell you something. Average people don't like to watch me. I talk about things that trigger their cognitive dissonance. I communicate in a way that triggers what they believe to be social norms, societal norms, things that are acceptable, socially like politically correct. I'm not I am not politically correct. I used to be for a long period. Much of my life I was highly politically correct. And then I surgically removed the stick from my ass. I did. Etheric surgery. And then I realized I was playing a character. I was playing a character and trying to be what I thought other people wanted me to be. And that's just not going to work because that's not who I am. Okay. So now I realize I'm in this world, not of this world, and it's okay. I'm still here in human form. And that's okay. It's not a punishment. It's an opportunity to learn something that I can only learn in human form. See, spiritual communities will encourage you to discard, devalue the human aspects of you. That you only have value if you are a star seed, a blue ray, if you claim this and that. Then what's that going to do for you in this life? Make you elite. You see, the elite don't need to announce that they are elite. They move and flow through societies, not being recognized for what they are. Unless, of course, they make major power plays, at which point they will be recognized. Does a lion have to tell you it's a lion for you to know what it is? That's what Michael says. I'm not a lion. I am a girl. Against the grain. I think part of the reason why you're not developing your psychic capacity to the degree that it needs to be developed is because you're afraid to go against the grain. Everyone wants to be a diamond, but no one wants to be cut and polished. All those times you've been cut, you've been a diamond in the rough, and now you're in the process of becoming a jewel, right? Collaborative dreaming. So this message is kind of like there's communications that are taking place between you and an individual, maybe multiple individuals, but the feel that I get from the card is it's one individual. And maybe you're not remembering your dreams when you wake up, and that's probably because the communications are things that are very very touchy for you. You're very sensitive about it. You know what I mean? Relax a hold of darkness and be at cause. You've been allowing yourself to become so just disheveled, right? If your hair is your power and your hair is disheveled, I mean, you know, I feel like hair represents power, your personal power. Look at the stories in the Bible. Samson and Delilah, the beliefs of indigenous peoples, right? If you allow yourself to become very just disintegrated, disintegrated, not integrated with the self, right? When you don't integrate with yourself, you dissolve your perceptions of who you are. So you need to return into a space of knowing what is already with you, the capabilities, the trajectory, the purpose, all of that. That's already with you. It's been with you. Seeing the true you in reverse. You don't want to see yourself. I'm wondering if this person is a mirror of you because all of these things, you don't want to see yourself. You don't want to, um, yeah. There was this one person who I had interacted with them several years back. And I remember I picked up on the sense that I really, yeah. I picked up on the sense that they were irritated with me. And so that obviously shut me down, right? I didn't know what I did to irritate them, but I just picked up on it. Like they were like really irritated with me. And so I got quiet and I was just like, okay, it was only a matter of time. I trigger people, I irritate them, even without intending to. I do. There's just something about me that people get triggered by. And so, um, we had a mutual friend. We had a mutual friend, and I was speaking with a mutual friend, I think about truffles or something like that. And they brought something up. I don't remember what it was anymore, but it had to do with a person. I was like, oh, I don't think they like me very much. I don't think they like me very much. I could feel like they're really irritated with me. And that person, that mutual friend was like, "Oh, they're just irritated because they see the gravity of you. They see like um they see who you are and they're frustrated that you can't see it." I was like, "What? When do you see what?" I didn't get it. And I think that's what irritated the person. Like I didn't get it. I guess the person saw me as a big deal and I didn't see myself as such, and that irritated them. Okay, resonance, resonance. I see you. Yeah. Um, I used to feel that too. I felt like my mom didn't really like me very much. um, and then I realized it was because I'm an embodiment of all of the things that she was too afraid to allow to come forward. And she saw me living in the way that she wished she could have. Um, Having the courage and, the spice. Yeah, because she got caught up in the whole thing of not disappointing people and doing what people want her to do, and you know, all of that. She got caught up in that. And yeah, and then I came to a realization, it's not that she doesn't like me, it's that I am her inner child existing outside of her. And there's this part of her that just really, you know, it had nothing to do with me, and it had everything to do with her and her perceptions of the choices she made, and this desire to have made other choices that didn't know how to undo anymore. You know? Yeah, there was no loss of love between my mother and I. Yeah. Um, yeah. There was distorted perceptions between us. Um, and I thought I was so different from her, and in the end, I realized how exactly the same we are, except I lived in courage while she lived in fear. Exactly the same, placed in different parts of that polarity, positioned differently on the same plane of existence. So we are the opposing polarities of the potentials we chose. And in the end, I taught her how to flip people off, much to my siblings' dismay. I told her how to properly curse at people. She didn't know how to curse at people. It was like, dyslexia much, mommy? She would mix up the curse words. You know, and that's the thing. She needed to see me existing as myself, to simply witness me. And she had never witnessed me until I came back a year later. That's when she witnessed me being me, and her shame and discomfort over me and um my differences, my not normal behaviors and abilities. um it used to scare her. It used to scare her a lot. But when I came back and she saw me no longer being apologetic for who I am, how I am, what I do, she then began to brag to all of her friends, like, my daughter does the third eye. I was like, tell people. What are you telling people? Stop saying that. And she's like, my daughter, she does the third eye. She didn't say psychic. She said the third eye. She does the third eye. I'm like, that doesn't even make sense. You know? So if you have conflict with your parent, I mean, it's not to say that you should pretend that none of that ever hurt you, but it is to say you need to look beyond the pain and see the actual root of it, not to excuse away their behaviors, but to better understand what that behavior was intended to do, the ways in which it was intended to grow you, not your parents' intentions. I'm talking about soul, soul, right? Um, Intuition, you're developing that intuition, but first you have to let go. You have to let go of this concept that you can only have this after X, Y, and Z. You can have it right now. You know, you can have it right now. So, this right here, I'm told to cut my mom off, and I disagree. I feel personally, and this is just my personal thoughts, I feel like you know when someone needs to be removed and when that conflict is growing you and necessary. For some of us, we struggle with what we know we need, right? And that's not to say I know whether you need to cut someone off or not. That is to say that we have been so thoroughly indoctrinated as members of society. We have been indoctrinated to believe that certain labels afford those people unrestricted access to maltreat us, and that's not true either. Regardless of the label that someone carries, if it's beyond what you can handle for your mental health and all of that, then you need to make some decisions for your health, right? Oh no, I hope she's okay, Louise. I hope she's okay. New chapter. Allowing yourself to pick up your pen and write the new chapter with your own hands, consciously creating the next part of your life, right? Oh, how did that get on there? Ooh, Catherine, I did not click the, what the heck? Sometimes you have to cut off people who are family if it's too much, if you can't manage to create space to heal in their presence, they just have to go, at least temporarily, at the very least temporarily, because there's no point in remaining in that sick space just because of your obligatory expectations of yourself, right? Shadow self. Oh, Marlene, that was sweet. Thank you. Um, she said she would have been honored to have someone like me as a daughter. Thank you. I'd organize your closet. Okay, so shadow self. Um, the shadow is where you have hidden all of the things that no one gave you permission to be. Your most powerful parts that when you allowed others to witness it in your childhood, um, it made them uncomfortable. And so you stashed it away. You stashed it in your shadow self. Okay. Why in the shadow? Because as part of our human existence, part of the reptilian brain, we have a fear of the dark. It has to do with survival, not being able to see what threats are coming, right? In our long ago history, the most dangerous times for us as mammalians with neither tooth nor claw to defend ourselves, nighttime was very, very iffy. You better just stay by the fire, okay? And so that was part of our survival. These days, and as you grow older, even back then, as you grow older and develop more skills, hunting, tracking, awareness development, the fear of nighttime began to decrease. In some cultures, even till now, you don't become an adult until you've spent X amount of nights out in the wilderness by yourself, right? And that's to overcome the fear. It's part of the toddlerhood of your consciousness. And so now, where we're at as individuals, until you develop the amount of maturity that's needed to responsibly wield such power, you will not be allowed to access it. It's buried deep in the shadow self to prevent um, early access to something you don't have the maturity yet to responsibly harness. That's why it's in the shadow self. It's not because it's demonic stuff. Like, if I didn't want my kids to get something, I would put it where they would be afraid to go. And I have all boys. So if I wanted to hide something, well, they're not really afraid of it. They just don't like it. I would hide it in my like sanitary napkins box. Because I'd be like, ew, that's mommy stuff. Ew. Right? um, yeah, if my kids are watching, you definitely go ahead, dig through the box. I don't hide anything from you guys. I tell you straight up, that's mine. Do not eat it. I'm joking. I share everything with my kids. So you're worried that you're not going to have the integrity to wield this power. How dare you? I'm sorry, I got triggered. I'm sorry. That triggered me. Yeah, no, how dare you accuse yourself of being a bad person when you're not? Bad people don't accuse themselves of being bad people. They look for justifications for their bad behavior. Stop it already. You are not a bad person. You're making me mad. I'm serious. You're making me really mad at you. Stop it. Stop it. Stop. Seriously. There's one thing I dislike, and that's, I don't care who it is, whoever it is, talking badly about the people that I care about. Like, no, that's not okay. That accusatory vibe, that's not okay. I don't like that shit. I even tell my kids, you never accuse someone unless you can definitively prove that they did something. You never accuse them. You ask, hey, did you take my controller? You don't just like, hey, you took my controller, give it back. I mean, unless they took it out of your hands, right? But if you left the room, you don't know where the controller is, you're not just going to say to someone, hey, you took my control. No, you ask, did you see my controller? Did you take it? Can I have it back? Right? So stop accusing yourself of just, let me say it, utter fuckery. That's just fuckery. Like I said, bad people are too busy looking for justifications of why their bad behavior was justified, was appropriate, was necessary. No, I'm not going to let you talk shit about yourself today. I'm not going to. You need a timeout. Get your ass in the corner. You need a timeout. You know what you should do? You should go in the corner and then you put your forearms against the walls and you lean forward. Make sure it's straight. And then you lean forward and it's a chest opener because you need to open up that chest, stretch it out so you can fucking love yourself a little bit more. You pissed me off. Sorry. Whoever that was, you better stop with that. Seriously. Stop with that whole self hatred thing. Stop it. Do that somewhere else. Here, you better love yourself because I'm all you out on your shit. Okay. Do that stretch. Open up your heart space. I'm serious. That's what it does. It opens up your heart space. Go in a corner. Go like this in the corner. Put your hands on the walls, your forearms touching, and lean forward. It will stretch out your chest. It will stretch it out. And then maybe your heart will open and you'll stop treating yourself that way. So, awaken in reverse. Like, yeah, some people just don't want to develop that awareness. Too bad. You hang around me long enough, it's going to develop regardless of whether you want to or not. That's just how it goes. You hang around here long enough, not only are you immersed in my energy, you are immersed in a community that is a reflection of my energy. And you're going to get to a point where you're going to see the gravity of you. You're going to fall in love with yourself. You're going to become empowered. You're no longer going to let people do what they're doing to you that hurts you and further reaffirms your insecurities. No, this is a place where we change all of that. All of that is about to be changed. So if you're not ready for that, you probably need to go somewhere else for now. Unfortunately, I just got to be very honest with you because this is a place where you're going to actually grow. Not because I'm telling you to grow, but because you're seeing a reflection of yourself and me and you're losing your fear of who you are, which you shouldn't be afraid of who you are. It's a process, though. I'm still scared of parts of myself. It's a process. It is. And I'll say this probably because many of you will resonate. The parts of me that I'm skittish around are the parts of me filled with rage, a righteous wrath type of rage. Excuse me. I'm a very control, and that's not something that I typically will lose control of. Why? Well, because I understand how destructive it is. But it exists. And for a large portion of my life, I've been ashamed of that the existence, my knowledge of the existence of this righteous rage. And then I went through the things that I went through, and I learned how to harness that rage as fuel. Yeah, it's fuel. Your emotions are the fuel for your rise. It's nothing but fuel. What you do with the fuel is what paints it good or bad. So do something positive with it. Grow yourself, build something with that. So part of the process is developing the awareness of your righteous rage and using that to prove people wrong. And then developing in such a way where that righteous rage is no longer something that you're using to prove to other people that you're worth it. No, now it's like, well, what can I build? Rather than setting forest fires, you've already cleared the field. That nutrition is already in the soil. The soils have been amended already. Now, what you've cleared with that righteous rage in the early stages can be the fields you use to grow what will sustain you for generations to come. That is how you use that righteous rage. Don't waste it on people who are nonsensical. You temper righteous rage with the code of Bushido, and what ends up happening is what? When you know you can beat someone, it's a waste of your time. It's a waste of your time. Yeah, when I go to the gym, I forgot who I was telling. Women half my age who are very fit, they're not my competition. My competition are dudes. I'm like, oh, okay. You want to work out beside me? How much you lift? They're my competition. Okay, you leg press that much? Let me add another plate. Let's see what I can do. I don't typically do that, but if I'm going to be competitive, it's going to be against someone much bigger than me. Much bigger, much stronger. Someone who I've deemed much more capable. Because Bushido. Free spirit in reverse, you've shackled yourself. You've shackled yourself to things from the past. These flames that create the hot air for you to rise. You will never rise so long as you continue to carry excess baggage. Much like a hot air balloon, they have to release the weight so that they can rise. If not, you don't go very high, right? That baggage that you carry needs to be addressed. Move forward in reverse. I would say you're in stuck mode. So unstuck yourself, okay? Unstuck yourself. Carrying forward with the fire analogy and Daran activation, this to me is the cards are telling us, confirming that you're not using your sacred rage, that fire, appropriately. You're using it to further degrade and further attack yourself. You don't need to do that. You really don't. How do I know? Because I used to do it too. That get me nowhere until I chose to exit out of those cycles. That's where it got me. Nowhere. It got me feeling very destroyed within myself, ignoring the fact that I have precognitive abilities that can serve me in the most beneficial way. And one of the most beneficial ways that precognitive abilities can serve you is by helping to prevent you from experiencing unnecessary hardship. It's just one of those things. It's just one of those things. You know? Years ago, I went to Vegas with two former associates. We went to Vegas and we played the roulette table. We played the roulette table. Um, I won quite a bit of money on that table in one roll, one spin. And as soon as I won, I left the table. And what ended up happening is I went to other tables and I didn't really want to win anymore. And, but, people were having so much fun. And I don't know, I guess they began watching me because they began betting wherever I would place my chips. And after a few minutes, the whole table was winning. Security even came. Security came and was watching. They couldn't do anything. But because everyone was winning and having so much fun, and I loved it. I loved it. I wasn't betting too much, just one or two chips, like $20. And yeah, I kept it going for like 30 minutes or so. People had stacks of chips, stacks upon stacks by the time I was done and wanted to leave. And then they were like, no, don't go. We're winning. We're winning. And I was like, I gotta go. I don't want to win anymore. And so I told them what to bet on. And then I left. I got halfway through the casino and I thought I left my ID at the table. So I went back. And when I went back, I saw that what number I had told them to place their bet on, it hit repeatedly. From the time I left until the time I came back, it kept landing on that. Because I love to do for others what I refuse to do for myself. There's a frequency to the world, a frequency to creation that that things respond to, especially electronics. Very easy, very, very easy. Again, I can't do it for myself. I don't want to. I always stop it. I always block it. But it's not unheard of for me to walk through a casino at certain times and just have a trail of people on slot machines screaming because they've won. The one time I did try to do it, the progressive jackpot was a couple million. Do you know how hard it is to get all of those to line up? And I did it. I lined them all up. A hair above the line, the payout line, the bottoms of each symbol were touching the payout line. But in order to get paid out for the multi-million-dollar progressive jackpot, the line had to be at the center of the symbols. I can't do it for myself. I feel like it's cheating. And I think that is such an analogy of how we do ourselves, where we will do for others the very thing we should do for ourselves. And I have this mindset of, if money is going to come to me, I'm going to earn it. I'm going to work for it. And I don't want it any other way. If good things are going to come to you and you have that same logic that I have, you're blocking the good things from coming to you. You're negatively impacting your journey using your precognitive abilities, your clairvoyance, all your clairs. So let yourself receive. Just let yourself receive. You are protected in everything you do. I think for many of us, myself included, I have had this logic that's slowly being Um, it's slowly being shifted and adjusted. But I have this logic where it's like, if I allow myself to do something like that, then I will be corrupted. It's a paranoia. That's a paranoia, thinking that um, allowing yourself to receive is going to somehow turn you into something that you're not. For a long time, I blocked money from coming to me. Money has a way of coming to me like, what the frick? I don't like money. I really don't like money. And it has a way of consistently coming to me. And it's like, when it comes to me, I give it away because I don't want it to corrupt me. And then I realized a couple years back, not long ago, maybe 2 years ago, um, I already am who I am. I'm stubborn AF. I'm not going to be something else. I am who I am. And allowing myself to receive is not going to change who I already am. It's just going to make it a lot easier for me to be more of who I am, a loving, generous, supportive, empowering person. So you have to really come to terms with the fact that you are a good person. You really are. And the more you refuse to allow yourself to accept that, the more parasitic things will be brought to you. Parasitic people will be brought to you to convince you that you are not who you are. I had people, and I'll use the appropriate descriptive words. I had these jealous bitches. I had jealous bitches who were trying to convince me that the reason I have the ability that I have is because I sold my soul to a demon. Yo, mama. Yo, mama sold her soul to a demon. Why you think you here? I'm demonic? Shit. Fuck out of here with your shit. Demonic, why? Because you're jealous. You're jealous that you can't do what I do easily. Your issue is not my own. I will not internalize your issue. And that's what you have to tell yourself. When you come across people like that, you have to remind yourself their issue is not mine. I will not take ownership of their issues. That is for them to resolve. I'm out and really be out. Galactic heritage, you're blocking this as well. Let's put that on the screen. Anyways, warrior spirit, you got to know what you're fighting for, though. You got to know what you're fighting for, what you're fighting about. You are worth fighting for. Other people's toxicity is not worth fighting. It's a waste of your energy. It's a drain, right? It's like you're not aware how you attract these things with your light. It's not because you're a bad person, it's because you're the opposite of what they are. They crave what you are because they're not that, and they have an awareness that they're not, right? Um, in an upright position, I think this has to do with someone being drawn to you. A specific individual is drawn to you because you have a resonance. You guys are the same thing. Growth. You're going to grow through this period. No matter what, you're going to grow. This is not something that you can stop. Past life return. So whoever that individual is that keeps being peppered throughout the reading, there's someone from your what? Oh, anyways, card number 26, parasitic. So the parasitic things walking around. Okay. These parasitic things are going to try and convince you of the woo woo, wah wah. Don't believe them. Stay in your lane. Focus on what you're doing. Focus on your developing perception of yourself. Focus on really allowing yourself to kind of just, go through the flow, the emotion, all of that. Don't try to stop it. Allow yourself to be cleared out, to be cleansed. Drop that excess baggage so that way you can begin to rise. Okay. I gotta get going, guys. Please give this video a thumbs up. If you haven't already subscribed, please subscribe, turn on that notification bell. Join me when I'm live. I'll see you guys again very soon. Bye, everyone.